Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about something very different. We're going to talk about debt and debt collectors. I have learned some very useful, valuable information since I have recently joined one of millions, I'm sure, of Americans by being turned over to debt collections for some reason or another. Sometimes shit just happens. My situation is not necessarily concerning credit. It concerns a bank, and it's pretty complicated what happened, which is probably what got me out of the mess that I was in, but I'm not totally sure. But here's what happened. What happened was I got turned over to collections from a bank's check cashing service because the other bank where the money was supposed to come from refused to cash the check. And I talked to my previous employer about the issue, about an issue that was going on before that, and they said that they did something on their end. Don't need to go into too much detail about this, because that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that the debt collector sent me a letter, and I don't know who these people are, but they really know how to do stuff with style. And they sent me the letter, and I called them. I did the first bad thing. I called them first. I confirmed my identity and my information and all that, but when it got to the part of discussing payment, first of all, they tried to rush right into discussing a payment plan right after confirming who I was, without doing the thing that I usually hear in a lot of videos of trying to get me to confirm that I owe the debt, like in an independent statement before discussing a payment plan. They just went right into trying to get me to pay. I am not one to be peer pressured, and I was transferred to a different person. That's another thing that's happened that I don't hear about. I talked to two different people in the same phone call in rapid succession, and the next person also confirmed my identity. But this person reworded a lot of things. One, they made it sound like they called me when I called them. Two, they shifted some of their wording at some point in the call to make it sound like they represented the company that turned me over to them, but they still said it in a very third-party type of way. They said they want their money. They didn't say we want our money. But anyone affiliated with a company like that wouldn't word it like that in the first place. So I discussed the situation of how this is between my employer and the bank, and I gave them their information and said if they can't work this out, then we'll work something else out, but first I want to see if they can take care of it. And then the person said, well, we check in every 7 to 10 business days, and I'll put in that you contacted your employer, and that was pretty much the end of it. So a lot of videos that I saw that led up to the video that ultimately helped me was things to do to prevent, like, you already know that you're in this situation, or you've already received a letter before you start receiving phone calls, and you went right to the internet to research what to do. I am not one of those people. I just watched a video, which I will link in the description, about what happens after you've already had your phone call. And hopefully you didn't already agree that you owe anything. I didn't agree that I owed anything. I said that this is these people, and we agreed on our recorded, legally binding phone call, because they record everything, which is how they can hold up in court that they confirmed it to you and they confirmed that you owe the debt if you admitted it on the phone, that they would call me back. And I haven't heard from them since, and it's been almost a month. So what kept me from saying too much, probably what kept me from rushing into things was that they were trying to rush into things first. I'm from Louisiana. I already know what's fishy. And, pun intended. And the second thing that kept me from saying too much is that if it had been under the circumstances in which people usually get called in by debt collectors, that doesn't involve other people in the situation, if it had been something else that was just me, I probably would have messed it up and did the bad thing of admitting a debt, which you don't do. So what I learned was, after you've already done the things that most of the videos will tell you not to do, you you ask them to prove how much they paid for the debt, because they don't pay for the debt in full. If you owe $200 to whomever, they didn't pay the full $200. The business that you owe the money has already written it off as a loss, so you don't even owe them anymore. And you're not necessarily obligated to pay the debt collectors, but you are obligated to deal with them. And you're not obligated to pay them until after either you have been officially sued and there's a court order from a judge, or you have voluntarily agreed to pay yourself, to which also can lead to the suing if you don't do what you have verbally recorded, legally binding, agreed to do. I did not verbally, legally binding agree to do anything that involved payment. I agreed to another contact of further discussion if the issue wasn't resolved with the other parties. And for as much as I've been thinking about it, it's been almost a month since I've heard from them. Sometimes you get a letter saying that your debt has been erased, and sometimes you don't. I'm not going to hold my breath either way. I'm going to wait to see if they call me back or if they send me another letter, because now I'm well researched and I know what to ask for and what to say. If they do produce a document of how much they paid for your debt, you can then negotiate. You still don't even have to pay all of it. And they'll probably take whatever you negotiate. If they don't, they erase the debt, because after you ask for it, they are legally required to produce it. I don't know why they wouldn't want to negotiate, to be honest with you, because I figure a penny is better than zero, but that's not my business. So yeah, the knowledge definitely needs to be spread on this issue, because there is no common sense to how this works. And also, debt varies by state to state. The statute of limitations, debt collectors will continue to contact you after your statute of limitations in your state has expired, even saying that you aren't obligated to pay because time is up on it. But then you might get like a really crappy judge that's still willing to go through with the trial, and it's totally up to you to know your rights. So like, by all means, research your own playbook about the statute of limitations in your state or in your country. But that's all for that. And I hope you all take care of yourselves and each other. And I can't speak on credit. My credit, I had no credit, but now my credit's probably bad, so I don't know what that looks like now anymore. But credit, am I right? Bye.